Today I'm going to show you guys the basics of DaVinci Resolve 18. Now if you need to slow it down and take a pause, please do because I'm going to go pretty fast. When you open up DaVinci, you'll see this menu here where you can select the session that you want to work on. You can see I've got my files nice and sorted. I've got each of my main projects set out into folders. To create a new project, go ahead and hit this button right here, or you can scroll down to the bottom and select Untitled Project. This creates a new blank session folder which you can save just like any other folder in Windows. Control S or Command S will bring up this Save Current Project dialog box right here, and you can save your file, or you can come up to File and hit Save Project As. DaVinci Basics. Now, there are 7 main tabs that you're always going to work in DaVinci. The first of these 7 tabs is right here at the left, the Media tab, where you can import files and clips. The second is the Cut tab, where I spend most of my time. This is where you can chop up footage and rearrange lots of files quickly. And this is the default tab when you load up the program. The third is the Edit tab, where you probably have the most versatility. You can get into the grime of your video editing, adjusting both sound and visuals. You can do image movement, cropping, and lots of other things. The fourth tab is Fusion, where you can do animation, add keyers, and do all sorts of advanced adjustments. Next is the Color tab. If you didn't know, DaVinci started out as a color grading software primarily, and it's grown into what we know today. Second to last is the Fairlight tab. This is where we can get into our audio mixing. And finally, Deliver is where we export files. For today though, we're just going to stick in the Cut tab. This is where I begin all my projects, just dragging and dropping files into this program. Starting out, you're not going to have any footage in your projects. You'll need to import files. There are 4 quick ways to do this. The first way is to go up here to File, hit Import, and go to Media. This brings up your Videos folder. The second way is with one of these 2 icons here. This one will import single files, and this is to import a whole folder. The third way is a hotkey. If you hit Control-I on your keyboard, it'll open up the same tab. And lastly, if you already have a folder open on your desktop that has footage in it, you can go ahead and grab those and drag them into your media pool. It'll ask you to change the frame rate, and I would recommend doing this pretty much with everything. As a general rule though, you want to make sure your frame rate is set to the highest footage frame rate in your folder. Once we import all of the footage that we want, we can go ahead and close that. And even though we've imported this footage, it's not yet in our timeline. The simplest way to do that is just to grab which file you want and drag it onto your timeline. If you want to go ahead and add more than one file at a time, you can go ahead and select all of those and drag them on, and that'll just put them in there in the order that the file has them labeled. Now that we've got footage on the timeline, you want to know how to navigate. Most of your time controls are right here under your frame. You've got play, you've got reverse, and you've got stop, and these 2 buttons on either side of it go to the next edited clip. So let's say I finished an edit right here and I need to jump to the next one. We just hit that and it jumps me right to the beginning of this next clip. If you would rather drag so you can get a more precise spot, you can also grab the top of this timeline here. Or if you want to go through the whole session, you can grab the top of this timeline here and drag really quickly. I'll be honest, most of the time all you need to control is your play and your stop button, which are controlled by the spacebar. Now if you right click on a file in your timeline, you're going to see a lot of options. I'll just explain a few of these key commands. The first 2 are copy and cut. Those work like in any other program. If you press Control or Command C and Control V or X, any of those commands still work. So let's say I want this clip to play twice. If I select that, hit Control C, drag it over to the end of this timeline and hit Control V, it'll paste it right there. Control X is similar, although it will delete your file until you paste it back where you want it. Now our third option in this is split. This is the command that I do most often, and instead of selecting this every time and hitting split, moving to the next one and hitting split, the hotkey, at least for PC, is just Control B. Control B splits your timeline wherever your player head is, and that way you can make a bunch of quick edits just like this, and if you don't want a piece, just grab that, hit delete, and that goes away. The next command we're going to look at is mute. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. It'll mute your clip. Now the last command is enable. By default, all clips are enabled, but if you disable it, just like that, you'll still be able to hear the audio, but the visual is obviously gone from our timeline. The hotkey for this is D, and if you ever make a mistake, you just select that file again, hit D, and it'll re-enable that. Now that we've chopped up all of our footage and we've made it into the video we want, the quickest way to get this out of the program is to come up here to this quick export button. If you hit this, you get a lot of presets, including YouTube, Vimeo, Twitter. Those are most of what people are exporting to nowadays. But if you need more advanced settings, of course, come down to the Deliver tab and you can do it through that. If you're not exporting for one of these programs, it'll just ask you what kind of codec you want to deliver it with. And for the most part, I just leave everything standard H.264. That is a standard codec for delivery. If you hit export, DaVinci will ask you where you want to put the file. Once we've named it, we just hit save, then it'll export right here. Now that the video is done rendering, we can go ahead and open it up and make sure everything is right. Looks like my super awesome Minecraft video is done. That is all we're going to cover today in DaVinci Resolve, but this program is so versatile and useful. I love it even more than Premiere Pro. I use it almost every day. So if you have any questions, please let me know down in the comments and I'll be sure to get back to you. Also, if there's any other topics that you want me to cover, let me know down in the comments and I will try to get to that as soon as possible.